rap is an illusion. It's it's the idea of just I'm the band. I'm not the band. I'm the vessel. So
Hmm.
if I can represent being a vessel, that's why I beatbox. I beatbox
Yeah.
because there's a time for another person to rap. Every rapper should beatbox because it reminds you that I take the energy and give it. So I get the spotlight, yo, blah 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 blah, and then it's time for your story to be told.
Welcome to Far Out with Faust, everybody. I am Faust Chicho, and today I'm very excited to be joined by Jeff Turner. Let me tell you about Jeff and some of the extraordinary things he's been up to. Jeff is a New Thought hip hop artist, MC, singer, songwriter from South Bay area of California. He mixes classic hip hop principles with the evolving sound of the industry. He's an extraordinary artist with an extraordinary story, and I'm excited to have him on the show. Jeff, thank you so much for beaming in, man. It's a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today, man. What a great collaboration. I've heard great things. Yeah.
Awesome, man. So, Jeff, dude, very talented, man. Very talented. It's just amazing to see. Nick's introduced me to, not in the flesh, but he sent so many things my way, and he sent me your stuff a while ago, and I was like, wow, it's
Mm.
just incredible talent, man. Um, Tell me, like, tell my audience who you are and how you got here.
Yes, my name's Jeff Turner. Jeff Turner Music. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and I have gotten here through the power of energy transmitted through rhythm, poetry, and melody. The love of the way the arts connect people. Um, all things that connect people. Could be fishing. um, but in this case, it's music, and so that power was shown to me back when I was writing poetry as a kid when I was 14, and no, started at 13 writing poetry, and then I ended up finding the cipher when I was in sophomore year in high school. Those people came together live in a circle, rapping, showing what they had. One guy beatboxing, and I loved the way that we were having a conversation using the arts, and it was really cool. So then that kept me rolling with the poetry, and then I started producing. I started making instrumentals. My brother brought home a program on a disc, a software program, Reason, and he was messing with it. And I was like, "What's that?" He was like, "Oh, something messing with." And then I stuck with it, man. And that I loved arranging music. I really love arranging, composing. And then the cipher kept me rapping and with the poetry. So it went hand in hand. And then I released my first album when I graduated high school, the day I graduated high school.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing, man. So tell everyone what you mean when you say cipher, because I'm sure people are gonna wonder what you're talking about.
Yeah, cipher is when people get together, just like when the dance people get in a circle and people dance together. One person shows what they got, boom, and it's not exactly the event isn't exactly scripted or conscripted, but you can show what you have, show what you've brought today.
Right.
So you have a circle of people and they show what they've brought today, and it's live, it's in person, and it's
That's
great.
exciting,
Yeah,
man.
it's great. So yeah, the cipher started, yeah, sophomore year, seeing them in high school, that cipher, and I kept writing, kept doing my thing. Real big fan of physical marketing, physical sharing. Take
Hmm.
I loved with the albums, man. I was one of those people, man, selling the discs.
You had the discs. I
Had
was gonna
have,
say you had to have the disc
have,
back
have
then.
my albums, man, and I always carried a boombox since I was a kid. Always carried a boombox. Always on some right here, right now stuff. So that helped me just stay in love with it because I got to hear other people's stories, and what they prepared, their energy, and I got to share mine. So it really gave me a voice. Um, I grew up in the foster home system from 6 to 17.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay.
yeah, and this really gave me the tools to place that energy or questions that I had or frustrations or alienations or whatever, or good things, bad things, gave me a place to place that intensity. And it really kept me company, kept me improving, and really taught me. It was my college, it's my form of education. It ended up being these instruments, this um, writing, writing. My form of it was
Yeah.
like a writing class. The instruments were like communications class. How do I express?
Mm-hmm.
How do I communicate something?
Absolutely.
You know. So yeah, and now I'm writing the mid knee deep in my journey, man. Lots going on. I just got back from Chile. 6 weeks of touring in South America. That was my
Wow.
third time down there. Earlier this year, or excuse me, last year I was in Spain, in Madrid twice, um, building over there, like doing shows, freestyling with people, learning from
Yeah.
people, practicing my bad Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Um, and
That's good. It's going to make you better, dude. I mean, it's all going to make you better.
yeah,
Everything you're doing,
yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah. So it's all a
Very
science, man.
cool.
That's what I'm about, man. It's a science. It's a science of people and the human spirit and the different tones that can come out of that. And
Yeah.
so I'm loving it right now. Yeah.
So I'm loving this too, man. I want to know how old did you say you were when you started writing poetry?
13.
13 years old, writing poetry. That is extraordinary. First
Mm.
of all, and then you told me not a small thing about your childhood that you were in the foster care
Hmm.
system, which can be very difficult for kids to get over. Not having the stability. I mean, not that most parents come with such great stability, but you know what I'm saying. It's a
Absolutely.
very challenging thing, and it's not a small thing to get over. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people struggle. They end up in crime. They end up with addictions. And you don't have to obviously be raised in a foster home to, no one gets away unscathed. But particularly, it becomes even more challenging when there's
Particularly.
not even, yeah.
Wildly
So,
often. Wildly,
wow.
like, as in, like,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like
I'm sure you
90,
know it.
90% of us, man, go through is tough, dog. So,
That's what I'm saying.
there'd be only like 10% that you wouldn't be able to tell, like, and
Yeah.
the crazy thing is, it doesn't, a lot of the idea of getting over things, they become a part of you. And the
Hmm.
energy flows. And so if it's something good, bad, whatever, let's say it's something difficult, that energy went through you, and it's in you, and it's like
Yeah.
excuse me, it's through you. Like you were a vessel, it went through, it happened, and now you can only direct that energy.
Hmm.
Every
Yeah.
day that energy's in me, that frustration, how it would have been a certain way had I had this or that. That's natural in the human.
Yeah.
You can't escape that. You can't just, oh, I'm fine. I don't ever think about that, of course. But every day that
Hmm.
puts my pen to the pad, it puts if not the pen to the pad, it puts me in the gym. It gets me
Hmm.
picking up some weights if I can't think my way through it. But it always kept me digging. So
Yeah.
it's a tough thing. But the cool part is, like, we're airbending, man, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
representing. That's that's why I literally want to share and want people to see what I'm doing, is because of that. Is because I know that each person has their
Hmm.
elements, their
Yeah.
story, their unique fingerprint, and I want them to see me in the middle of me dealing with all of this, and how I'm dealing. Not just it's behind me, but it's how this is my therapy. Without it, like
Yeah.
this morning, I also have a bunch of thoughts too. But this morning, man, I picked up that guitar, started placing some chords, and then I started saying, I started I started saying
Mm-hmm.
those words that were coming to mind, coming to soul,
Yeah.
and it helped me, dude. Like I don't know, there's like, and that's even better than a therapist.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it is, because a lot of people get stuck in this cycle of therapy where they're just affirming the shit, for lack of a better term. They continue to victimize themselves and reaffirm that identity, and that's a problem. You want to transcend that. The only way to heal is to stop seeing yourself as a victim. And
Oh man,
your life is a great example of that. You could have easily, continued down a path of like, what why did this have to happen to me? You know what I mean? Like, you see, I'm sure
mm,
most of your friends had parents, had a stable home, and you didn't, so
mm.
it's very extraordinary what you've done, what you're doing, and to now learning more where you came from makes it even, more extraordinary. So it's great what you're doing, and you know what I'm saying? Like, when you find
Thank you,
something that makes you feel good when you do it, you're very welcome. I mean that. You know it, right? Like, so I was doing the same
yeah.
thing. I was having thoughts I don't normally have, and I also use physical activity like boxing and exercising weights, and I don't know what I would do without it. But I end up just talking to this woman, and in 20 minutes, she's just asking me questions, and I'm just sharing what knowledge that I've learned, and I walk away from the conversation feeling like a different person, because I feel grateful that I got a chance to speak to this woman. She's grateful. She feels like that she's better off taking the next step in her life, and you just feel great when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. When you feel great afterwards, you know what I'm saying? It's like your whole body
And
is
you said
electric.
before you talked to her, you said before you talked to her, you weren't feeling so
I
well,
was
like in your head, and you spoke to her, and that changed that.
Yeah, totally. And one of the things I love that has come into my life is these conversations. Having these kind of conversations. I love doing it. I was very much on a path that is reflective of yours. As an artist and an actor and a filmmaker for 21 years, and I
Mm-hmm.
still bring all that to my work. But it's an evolution for me, and I love it. So it's so. But I know exactly what you mean when you say what you say about using yourself as as a canvas, to connect to people and to help people connect with themselves and with the world. And just allow for a greater expression. So yeah, man, it's beautiful.
Totally, totally, and I love what you're doing. It's just this is great. Ah, this is very good. This is a form of open. We're all a network. So when you're hearing other people's stories, you're expanded by that. And often we're listening, and the thing about when we're talking about the way you see yourself, and you can see yourself as a victim or whatever, that's because we're looking too close to our own story. Like I was saying, what you're doing is great. This podcast with other people's stories is great because often we're feeling a type of way because we're looking too closely at our own story, and it's just bouncing off the walls, and it's the only thing we're listening to, and we're looking too closely, so only what happened to us and blah blah blah. But when you remind yourself you're not just a cell, but you're a cell in the whole body. And that's when you have those conversations with other people, and you're like, oh shit, oh, like you snap out of it. It's this hypnosis of the self. Like we're crazy. we're
Absolutely.
we're so we gotta like we're that's great when you talk to that lady that literally changed your hypnosis, like, and tuned you into the reality. You're like, oh, it ain't just me and what happened to me and what I didn't have and how they had more. It's, oh, she didn't have what I had.
That's right.
She didn't
And
have.
all of a sudden it's a reminder, a reminding, right? Even if you look at the words, remind, you're coming back into yourself, remembering, you're becoming part of, the whole again.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel that in your entire vibration. you feel connected all of a sudden again. You feel whole, right? When we feel whole, we no longer are like, God damn, I could really use this, that, and the other thing, and whatever it is, right? That's what
Mm,
wholeness is as a feeling. And a lot of people don't realize that they're in a constant state of like, fuck, what do I need? But when in those moments when you do feel whole, you're like, damn, I got everything I need right here.
mm,
I feel good.
mm.
And,
Absolutely.
and that's what we're going for, right? I think that's the easiest way to be on the planet is to feel whole. So
And
whatever you got to do.
that's the direction we're going, man. You can see it. It's a hell of a time. The direction we, and in my humble opinion, what I'm witnessing is we have so much so fast. We got so much so fast as a human race, like stuff, things, that to feel whole now, we have to remember what that even means because we have
Yeah.
so many ways, so many we can connect to everyone, so we need to remember who we should connect to. We can have we
Yeah.
have all the clean water in the world, so we need to remember like how to drink it. It's almost like we have
Yeah.
all like we have clean water available. We don't, and everyone's dehydrated. We can all connect to each other, but we're all the most closed down ever. And maybe all the
Yeah.
options, all the complexity is what's like cursing us to be or making us feel cursed and lonely is the
Mm-hmm.
simplicity we've forgotten about life and what
In a
is
lot of ways, I
like
believe that to be true, man.
we have so many cool stuff that can keep you really entertained. It's Avatar
Yeah.
shit, but I
Yeah,
really
man.
see a
You
theme.
hit the nail on the head.
Mm,
It's tech. I mean, technology. We have to maintain mastership over it. You know what I'm saying? Or else it will become the
yeah,
master of us. And that is like all these movies about AI and all this hype. It's everywhere now, and it's like you can see it coming to a crescendo with, I just saw a headline right before we started that said Microsoft loses control of its AI that it just put into its search engine Bing, and the search engine is telling people to apparently not being very nice to people. And I'm like,
first thing it did
well,
was
when
not
you
be
have a bunch of
nice.
people who, if you have people who created the program who aren't very nice, then the program is going to be an extension of the people. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're all nice to each other. What did
Yes,
you expect was going to happen, right?
yes,
So it's like
yes,
we get distracted with technology, man. But it's really about a human
yes,
connection. That's what we can't, if unless we remember that we're gonna run into more trouble as a species with this whole AI thing. If we forget who created what and what needs to be the hierarchy, we're gonna get in trouble because there's a lot of people who think that we are incomplete without. I'm sure I don't know if you've heard about the transhuman movement, and there's a lot of people trying to push for microchips and us becoming intertwined with technology in order to become a better version of human. And I don't think that
better.
we need to improve upon this. This technology is amazing, right here. It's the best technology on the planet.
Yes,
It's what you call it soft technology. Can't improve on what God made so
yes,
great. I think. I don't think.
exactly. This is biotechnology. We are biotechnology, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and the word better comes with gigantic quotations because it's like it's like all of us, right? Sometimes I think I'm so smart that I become dumb. Like, as in, what is the arrogance of like youth or like the naivety of youth, thinking you know everything? And
Mm-hmm.
I think we are stoked, really stoked on what we can do, what we're capable of. We're really impressed with our own abilities. We're like, holy shit, we can make this and make
Mm-hmm.
this and make this and make this. And but we're forgetting what the old wise man talks about, the simple things of life. Just eat 3 times a day, rest, love,
Yeah.
like and we're going so fast. We're like a young, nah, I'm trying to like experience. I'm trying to ooh intense, like ooh. But
Right.
the first thing we're teaching these kids is how to be alone in a room with their phone.
My
And
God, man. And
that's the
the
first thing we're
problem,
teaching them by
Jeff,
the
is
age of 3.
it's not. First of all, it's not like, and I I have kids, and when I realized this, I was like, give me that. I immediately stopped the behavior because when I read about what it was doing to their processing centers and their pleasure centers, I was like,
Yes.
I mean, first I facepalmed myself, and then I took the devices away from them because the problem, Jeff, is the we have dopamine centers in our brain, right? I mean, we know how important of a neurochemical hormone it's you can't function without it. People who lose the ability to produce it end up with Parkinson's, right? They can't even move eventually without
Whoa.
dopamine. So we know it's important to the greater function, right? But what happens with our kids is we set the pleasure centers so high when we give them these devices and they're playing these games from youth that literally when you take it away from them, they naturally go into a state of this sucks. Somebody fucking kill me. You know what I mean? Because they went from this super high. Normal life doesn't present this kind of stimulus. You know what I'm
No, it
saying?
doesn't.
The only way you're
No, it
gonna
doesn't.
rehab these kids is get them out to the mountains. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it going back to what is
Mm,
simple, and reset those pleasure centers. So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. People just want to hand it off to technology. It's dangerous to think like that.
It all ties into it because the cool thing about this moment is this moment, this year, this time, we've experienced enough of trying out this new future way of being that everything's at the surface like an egg ready to crack. Everyone. And the cool part is it's simple. How are we doing? We're very wordy, we're very complex, we're very little bit, but how are we all doing, guys? And if people could just say,
Yeah.
great, this is the way of life. Like this is if we could say that, then fine. But I know. Finally, that's why I feel ready to be out here in the world for real because we've had enough
Mm-hmm.
time to try out the new way of life to before maybe like everything has to be on time, right? Sometimes you're ahead behind time. I always was saying music was going to serve us in a way that was greater than just profit and not just music but everything, poetry, the cipher, live connection, everything, music, hip hop, connecting, right? And while everyone was like, oh, music, hell yeah, I want to be famous because I'm good at this, I always saw the health in it. I was like, boy, I'm going it's the difference between being alone in this world and not. That
Mm-hmm.
comes before the profit. It's great when, like right now, I'm combining my business with my spiritual love of music. Right before, I was all spiritual love, like
Mm-hmm.
as in with like the art, love the art, and now I'm combining my business because I'm ready for that now. But before, I needed that health. The only way I didn't end up driven mad from the thoughts from all of this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of it, even the dopamine confusions, is because I kept coming back to
Mm-hmm.
my craft that connected me, that the craft that gave me a place to put my good self, my bad self, something that accepted me just like family. So, if you feel
Mm-hmm.
unaccepted by this world, sometimes it's your thing that accepts you. Some people it's interpretive dance, some people it's wood chopping, it's planting, it's
Yeah.
maybe it's their business, maybe it's building the next refrigerator, the next futuristic refrigerator. But
Yeah.
find you and remember and come back to the fact that we all make one, which is that's my brand, WAMO,
Mm-hmm.
WAMO. And it's we all make one. It's that same theory of we're not just a singular cell, but we're in the body. We're cells in the body. And
That's
this
right.
future is gonna need this. It's beyond therapy. It's self. The reason I love this shit is because I can go home with my craft and work on it personally. I'm not just in a
Mm-hmm.
therapist office repeating what happened, but it's
Yeah.
good to get therapy. But I've got something that's as intimate as this phone.
Yeah.
I've got I've got my instruments. And they're waiting for me to sing with joy or to cry upon them. My phone is more trying to squeeze a dollar out of me and figure me out on the most intimate levels.
Yeah.
On the most
Yeah.
intimate levels. But my instruments are not. My, you know? So that's
Yeah.
why I'm using my story for everybody, because the essence of all of this, I mean, this is about music, but if we talk about hip hop, it's the story of making it out of the Bronx, not just economically, but making it out
Right.
fucking for real. Making it out
Yeah.
the frustration, making it out the spiritual fucking chains. So that's what this shit did for me.
Yeah, man.
And now I'm going around this planet finding people who made it out of the slums of Venezuela using this.
How do you connect with them when English isn't their first language? Like what, how does that work out? I
Yes,
mean, I
absolutely.
feel like you
Through
obviously
the
are connecting with them. Yeah.
Yeah, through the understanding of the science, of not just the science, but the understanding of what I'm dealing with. Are words the words themselves, or are they a lot? Let's start with the tone. Through my tone, you can hear a lot of my intention. If I said through my tone, you can a lot
Hmm.
of my intention. Through my tone, you can hear a lot of my intention. Through my tone, you can hear a lot of my intention. So much of me comes through even if you didn't speak English. And physically,
Hmm.
physical communication, it's the art. You remember, it's not, oh, this isn't just hip hop, this is communication. Um,
Hmm.
so words aren't just the words, they're pointing towards the thing. If I say love or if I say anger, I can express that even if you don't speak it, right? I've
Right.
always wanted to be part of something great. I've always wanted to invent something. That was always since I was a little kid. I was like, I just want to invent something. And I want to
Hmm.
reinvent something. I want to reinvent the idea of what we're doing here, right? While I'm learning. So I connect with these people through coming from that point. When I'm coming from, like,
Hmm.
if none of us spoke a language, how would we think to ourselves? What language would we think in?
Yeah.
I'm trying to flow from that space, intention. If I'm feeling frustrated, I take
Right.
that right to the cipher, right to the mic, right to the pin. If I'm feeling such and such, and me, I've found success in this because I mix my joy with my anger, with my hope, with my despair, and I mix in humor because it's all fucked and it's all hilarious.
Hmm.
You know,
I love that.
it's all a beautiful mess, man. It's all tragic but
It is,
beautiful.
dude.
It's all we're living, we're like expanding, and we're gonna die. It's all a big, you know.
That's
So
right.
instead of
Yeah.
and not just being too serious, like, I gotta think, we gotta wake up because the blah blah. There has
Hmm.
there's positive shit, there's conscious shit, but the streets need a story too. Hopelessness needs a story. Not giving a fuck needs a story. There's always gonna be those energies.
Hmm.
There's always gonna be
That's
there's the
right. And they're
love
they're
and the
gonna express
connection.
themselves.
Uh huh. Yeah.
That's right.
It's not just telling people to be positive or politically aligned with you. It's not just telling them what is the right thing to do, because that's religious. And when you're going moral at
Right.
people, that's religious. So for me, all I can do, I don't know shit, and I only
Yeah.
have a little bit of
Morality is
time to figure this
overrated,
out on this
man.
planet. I'm sorry, morality,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know nothing. That's why I'm on the way to one day, like, the master knows they know nothing. So
Right.
the master knows he's not a master. So, and I like to think that makes me a better student, to know I know nothing. I don't know, I'm not a master
Yeah.
yet, but I know that I'm
Look
a
at my shirt,
hell of
man.
a student. Huh?
My shirt says, "The more I know." My shirt says, "The more I learn, the less I know for sure."
Oh shit.
I think that's what
I
it
can't
says.
see it right now, but that's awesome.
The more I see, the more I see, the less I know for sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly, man. So you were talking about see, that's how all of these things come back together, because what you're doing, remembering your story isn't just yours, but it's all of us. What
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing, that's why I'm right up in the middle of rap, because rap is an illusion. It's it's the idea of just I'm the band. I'm not the band. I'm the vessel. So
Mm-hmm.
if I can represent being a vessel, that's why I beatbox. I beatbox
Yeah.
because there's a time for another person to rap. Every rapper should beatbox because it reminds you that I take the energy and give it. So I get the spotlight, yo, blah 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 blah, and then it's time for your story to be told.
Yeah, man. I heard you're a pretty crazy freestyler, you know. So, dude, that's such a flow state. You have to, I mean, like, look, I know I've been in different flow states, and I can't say that I've ever freestyled,
Mm.
but I've been in a state where you are allowing what's in your heart to come out without letting it be twisted by the mind, right? You just got
Mm.
to trust that something is there and know that it will come out, and then it does every time, and you get better and better at that as you do it. It's like a channel state, it's a flow state,
Totally.
and you know, I mean, I'm assuming that's exactly what it is for you when you're freestyling, because I don't know how else anyone could, you know,
Hmm.
that's where it comes from.
Yes.
And, and so, you know, how I know how it feels for me when I'm in that state, you know, and we're talking about music, and there's just such a magical thing that happens, and when 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 people get in that state, I don't care what they're doing. When you access that state, you know, you're like, I don't know if there's an old movie called Bruce Leroy. No, it's The Last Dragon, but it's Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon,
Yes.
not the one with Bruce Lee, the one with Bruce
Bruce
Leroy. Did
Leroy.
you ever see that movie?
And show
Yeah,
enough. And show enough.
shown up and the glow, right?
Yeah.
I love the analogy of that movie. You know, it's I love that movie in general. You know, the '80s movies. That was my generation.
Mm.
um, but still a fantastic movie. But you know, you see, that person is like glowing when they're in that flow state. It's a
Mm.
perfect analogy.
Very true.
And yeah, all eyes are on them. You know, so how did that help? You know, when you were in other countries, and you know, this flow state, I feel like has to come to you. And like, how does that unlock further dimensions for you to connect and to continue to improve your skill, even in other countries where
It's
English
the
is
ultimate
not, you
proving
know, you're
ground.
connecting on like a whole nother level. Yeah.
It's perfect. This is the question. Could I hear you if I couldn't hear? Then you're just making sounds, right? Then you're in the sound business. That's good. But the body is the instrument, not just the words. So for for me, the what it unlocked was you have a crowd of 300 people. They're all around and they're all looking at you. The question is who are you and what are you trying to portray? What are you trying to communicate? And
Mm-hmm.
in life, there's more ways that you're not it's not just the words. It's the energy behind it. I'm in the energy
Mm-hmm.
field. I'm in the energy field. Um and um and the theater field. This is theater. This is street theater.
Yeah.
So I love Mr. Bean, for instance. Um, the physical comedy, the physical communication of Mr. Bean
Yeah.
without saying a word, y'all. That shit is what I'm talking about. Like, he's saying so much without saying a word. And for me, when I first came, I didn't speak any Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool because there's a lot of footage on that. You know, I even did a battle. It's called Dim Battles. Put in Jeff Turner,
Mm-hmm.
Dim Battles, DEM, and that was when I didn't speak a word of Spanish. But I could feel their intention, they could feel mine, and they could feel my relentless desire to understand and to learn. Not just to like dominate or to whatever. That's why most Americans or rappers couldn't do what I'm doing because you have to be ready to listen
Mm-hmm.
and speak. So you have to have something to say and you have to listen.
Yeah.
You have to be a true student of the game. You can't just be like, all right, what can I get out of this? And you got to like be in love with it. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I'm on another, when I say levels, it's not this way, it's just expansive. It's not better than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's taller or better, but this is wider for me, how I see this. Not just why, but my perspective, right? It's how it is
Mm-hmm.
because of where I come from. For me, the cipher, the pen, the theater, the expression, this was all I had and all I have. When you turned to something and leaned on it to save your life, when you love it like that, it
Mm-hmm.
unlocks, it gives you something back. It's like a little Fifth Element box
Yeah.
that, like in Fifth Element, how to unlock the box, you know,
Yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
cube.
Yeah.
How do you unlock that cube? And every superhero or whatever, what is their ignition? I'm thinking in Spanglish right now, inicio. What is their beginning? And
Right.
all of the things, Batman, Superman, and let's say Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman movie. She was like, "Oh, unlock your power." Blah. It's always the same story. Unlock your power, and they're swinging.
Right.
And he's like, "I can't," and you're blocking, and then they really attack you to bring it out of you. And when the moment arises that you
Yeah.
don't have a choice, so you're gonna fucking die, man. Um, that's when the shit turns on to stop the
Right.
building from falling on the people. I was pushed to that degree of needing to understand what's happening. Without it, I was going to say, who gives a shit about life? All I
Yeah.
need is money. All I need is power. All I need is a woman, blah, blah. Like, nah, this
Right.
shit pushed me so far, it unlocked some shit. And so the flow state, that glow state, that flow state,
Mm-hmm.
trusting myself. This shit taught me how to
That's
trust
it.
myself.
That's
And
everything,
trusting
man.
myself is the way you're going to love everything.
Including
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And that's key, man. And you were talking about being being accepted for who you are. An old expression which I never was crazy about was like, warts and all. Dark, the good with the bad, the understanding that it's all part of you. When you find an environment that does that, it teaches you how to do that to yourself. That's the step. It's all a stepping stone, but self love and is the only path to self mastery. You aren't gonna you're only gonna get so far. You're gonna end up like Philip Seymour Hoffman or Robin Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys were masters, but they didn't have the first ingredient, the most important ingredient, self love.
Mm,
Because if they did, they wouldn't have taken their own lives.
mm,
You can get as far as you want in your skill level, but
mm.
you transcend that when you get very friendly with what you love and what loves you, right? Because
Totally.
it's
Oh,
a path to self love.
totally.
Yeah.
We've learned. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, are we learning, guys? Like, as we move along through time, are we learning? Like Chester Bennington, are we learning? Or, like, could you be more loved than that guy?
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, you literally, there's no one. They're pulling 400,000 people in Brazil. You know what I'm saying? That love them at a
Yeah.
spiritual level. That love that man's story at a spiritual level. He saved so many lives, right? But there's an ingredient, and that's what I knew that I was in that same, like, I could achieve so much. That's I was on a fast pace, kind of whatever I wanted, bro. Like, my whole life's been like that. Incredible, like, obstacles and incredible opportunities. But I knew that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the power to hold on to the energy of power and extreme success without this ingredient. I knew some
Right.
kept being like, Jeff, you got. This morning I was thinking, um, just a couple hours ago, I was thinking you can be a Trojan horse for your own dream. You can
Mm-hmm.
have all that it takes, but you can carry with you some shit that in the night, after you make your millions and get to the top or whatever the fuck that comes out of you, that you didn't even know you brought with you. So with good intentions, you brought into the city.
Mm-hmm.
You brought yourself. You're like, oh, this is my dream. But that thing came with you, that anger, that jealousy, that whatever. And
Yeah.
you thought all you needed was to be loved or to achieve that thing. That's achievement in society. And even though you're the one who can do that, you can bring with you.
You have to. You have to because
Yeah.
it's part of what made you who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You, all the most amazing stories come from, the light is brighter because it came from the darkest place. This is the human experience. I mean, whether people realize it or not, it's all an opportunity. Every conflict, every challenge is an opportunity to overcome and become a greater expression of yourself in whatever way that means to you, right?
Totally.
And people like to try. It's it's a natural human thing to protect against, like, people, and we do this. People have memories from their childhood that are just locked. They're locked out because they were terrible. They were
Yeah.
traumatic, and the mind wants to separate those. And then what happens is, you start putting up walls around things, and then your house starts to get smaller and
Mm,
smaller, and then all of a sudden you don't even remember you put that wall up. You forgot there's something
mm.
behind there, and this happens over and over with people. I mean, and then all of a sudden, like, there's a crack in the wall, and they're scared. Then they don't know if they want to even peek behind that wall because it's been so damn
And
long.
everything
They
becomes
forgot why they put the
exaggerated.
wall up. That's
Everything
right.
becomes exaggerated. It's hard to even pick up the phone. That becomes like the same chemical process as an emergency.
Yeah.
Like your shit's like someone's at the door. Ah, like because so you don't. So
It's a
everything's
fight
an
or flight.
illusion.
It's a fight or flight,
Yeah.
right? That's why you built the wall. And what I see is, like, guess what happens if when the person who has the courage to take that wall down, they got a lot more room and a lot more light. And there may be a
Mm,
window behind that wall, and now the sun's streaming in, right? This is a healing process that we're all on, and I always encourage people, like, really look, because sometimes the wall, you don't even realize there's anything behind it anymore. People, it's hard to find sometimes,
mm.
why we are the way we are, but
Most things I've
uh,
ever looked for, most things, 92% of them, all the things that I've ever looked for when I was looking for my wallet, my keys, my phone, the thing I misplaced, my this, my that, they were in my pocket. Most things I ever
yeah,
really looked for, and I was getting pissed, and I was like, where the fuck is it? Like, most things I
somebody
ever
stole
looked for
them.
were literally either in my pocket or right where I would put them if I thought reasonably.
Right.
But the panic part of
Yeah.
me takes over, and I'm so ready to kick my own ass that the moment I can't find my keys for 1 second, I'm like, you always do this.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right. That
that's what
voice,
this
right?
life is. That's what this life is. It's learning how to do that dance in your mind and watching yourself. I have that type of mind. As soon as I can't find something, I'm ready to kick my ass.
Yeah.
And that's the use of what I'm trying to represent. It's not just to try to be famous or to die. It's this shit. This shit will show you and give you the courage to go after the job you want, to walk up and talk to the girl you would like to talk
Hmm.
to and believe in yourself, to go after the opportunities, to like to go to the martial arts class you've been hesitating
Yeah.
to take, um to accept the good part of you, the bad part of you. This is what this world's going to need because we need to be stronger individuals. And I am a person who is strong and weak at the same time. And I want to keep getting stronger where I'm weak. And
Yeah.
it's not just success that's going to teach me how to get stronger in those places. It's
That's right.
this thing that I've made it, that I'm making it through every day, every morning. Um, so if I can combine my business with the thing that helps me be better, oh wow,
Yeah.
that's now I'm ready. And sometimes that takes many years, and that's what I want to represent. I'm 35 now. I'm just coming into my stride, just coming into like
Man,
why.
you look great.
Thank you, thank you. Just coming into why I'm spitting, why I'm out here. Like
Right.
now I'm like I feel like Iron Man. I'm like I know the purpose of this suit. And when you're
Yep.
young, you think the purpose of the suit is to try to fight everybody.
That's right. Fight, and there's one other verb that starts with the letter F. That's the only two
Right.
things you think you're.
I'm fucking in like or maybe
Right.
it's not just like your ego, but it's just like you want to find out how good you are. And
Yeah,
now and that doesn't leave a lot of room to find out how good others are, because
that's right.
you can't want to kick everybody. You have to be you should be Bruce Lee, who turns others into Bruce Lee.
Right.
That's the goal. I want motherfuckers to see what I do or to hear my shit and to start turning into like, like
Yeah.
they're like, my favorite thing is when people tell me, "Yo, after seeing you, it made me wanna do
Yeah.
it made me want to do what I do." And the better I get at what I do, and the more I can communicate. Like this morning, I was having very troublesome patterns of thinking, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Man, pick up that weight and do some curls."
Right.
I
Yeah.
said, and then I like
Smart, dude.
sometimes it's like get out of your head. Um,
Yeah.
get out of your
I
mind
mean,
because
and
this.
you just do, you keep doing that enough, and then all of a sudden that pattern no longer has a hold, right? It's like, but these are the we live in a world where you're bombarded, and there's a lot going on right now. I don't know, I don't care where you are. There's a lot. It's almost impossible to ignore if you're in touch with society. There's a shitstorm happening. Let's be realistic, and it's hard not to stress about it. And we're bombarded by things that we can't see at the same time. So it's like you half the time you don't know what you're picking up, and you just know that it's
Mm,
getting frustrating being you right now, right? So how do we release that
mm,
energy? Because you said it earlier,
mm.
energy is it's emotion. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes, I
Energy,
do. I do.
emotion is energy in motion, right? And
Hmm.
it has to move.
We are the most sitting still generation of all time. No wonder we're frustrated.
Yeah,
What are we literally doing? I know we're thinking so much, but if you ask yourself, what are we literally doing for by billions of hours
yeah,
that we
way
wouldn't be
too
doing?
much.
We're sitting still from the morning. We're paralyzed. First, before even moving my body, it's
Yeah.
got my mind. And no
Mm-hmm.
wonder I'm tense. The energy wants me to get up and start bending over, picking some shit up, moving, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I go straight to the studio, I'm coming with tension because I just woke up and I'm trying to skip like any motion.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying, I'm sorry, the last thing you said was that energy has to move.
Mm-hmm.
We can only do so much in our mind. That energy has to move. So when we can only do so much with our problems, but that problem has to move. So I like to try to be
Yeah.
solution oriented. I almost lost my mind thinking about how frustrated I was with the obstacles in my life. But this gave me a place so that energy could move.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me something to do. So I'm
Yeah.
not just toiling, trying like swiping through the menu of
Right.
the phone with no purpose
Yeah.
without remembering one day I won't be here.
Right.
And I
That's
want
right.
to
That's
I,
that's
I want to be here. It's my
yeah.
turn. It's my turn to be here. So I should be here. I'm not just a software. I'm not just an avatar. So, what I do speaks directly to the inner city youth because
Mm-hmm.
and it speaks to the whole world, but I'm showing them a way out because it's a fucking lie that the way out is only in cash.
That's
It's
right.
a lie. The way out is like, oh, we making it out the hood just through paper. No, making it out is like
No,
this shit is
that's right. It starts here
this shit is like
because you can get all the paper you want. It ain't gonna last. You don't have the right programming in place to keep it going and keep it coming. Period.
if I'm emotionally soft and someone insults me and I assault them, how am I out?
You're gonna be in jail.
And I'm not just talking about the hood. I'm talking about totally the human spirit. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
if I'm not in if I ain't found a sense of love for this life, like something that kind of anchors me, something. And not just the
Yeah.
pain. The pain is very loud. So I want to show the kids how to forgive their parents for being that way.
That's right.
and how to be a certain way that maybe your kids will forgive you for being less than. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? I'll be less than,
Absolutely. That's
and
wisdom, man. That's wisdom right there.
I want to be a new thing in this generation. I want to be a new part of the algorithm. I want to disrupt the algorithm of my family, and not just family, but of humans' pain, right?
Right.
And God gave me legs, bro. Not just legs, but the will. I got a nervous system that I can control. Some people don't. I can travel. I can articulate words. I'm not in constant physical
Yeah.
pain. Um, that's what this shit taught me. That it taught me where my wealth was.
Mm-hmm.
The fact I'm talking to you right now and having another day with like sunshine and all, if I can
Mm-hmm.
remember that's really all I need, then I can, when money flows my way, that's how it's gonna, that energy is gonna grow because I'm coming with that energy, not of lack,
That's right.
not of lack and fear. I gotta get money because, nah, if I'm like, everything I touch grows. Everything I
That's right.
touch grows. That's how I want to touch the cipher. I want you to,
That's a belief system,
yeah.
Jeff. See what you've learned to do, and I'm just going to try to articulate this for everyone listening because this is so important. This is the key to life. It's the key to a happy life, and it's the key to, manifesting the things that you want to see show up in your life in a way that maybe you never imagined was possible, right? You recontextualize what's happening when you understand that everything that is happening for your greatest good. It seems like it on the surface or not, your knowledge of that, your knowing of that, when it starts to go from, from a belief to a knowledge, then things really start to change for you because everything that happens, no matter what it is, when you're recontextualizing it, and that this is great because I'm just going to trust something good or I wasn't meant to do that, and something good's going to come from this, and it will, and it does. And if you look back on your life, and people who have come to this part of their life, when they can look back and realize that every shitty thing, every tragedy, everything that happened to them was one of the, even though at the time it seemed like it just can't get any worse than this, it was the greatest turning point because it brought them closer to love, to whatever it is, to themselves, to God, to the universe. It's all an opportunity. And the people who aren't there yet, they have not quite figured out that
Mm.
that opportunity is there for them to transcend the darkness and become a much brighter version of themselves, right? But
Totally.
they're getting there.
And
That's why we're here.
I'm just getting, bro, the truth. The best way to describe is it's the battle with your truth and the ego and the balance. You need an ego, as in you need your name. You need to know you exist. You need to know that you're worth hearing
Yeah,
to make your podcast. You need to know that you do have something to say. You can't just be without it completely, like, oh, I'm nothing. But you also need to know that we are nothing, and we are nothing in something, right? So, as in this life at all is just one big thank you for even being here, not being like look at Turkey the other day.
my God, man.
So once you calibrate your ground zero of what you expect out of this life, you can be like, oh shit, everything is to make me better because it didn't, because I'm still here. If I'm
Yeah,
still here, so when I remember, and that's where we can use this knowledge, this of interconnecting to learn things as well. It's not only to be outraged by everything or to be in tune with the pain of the world everywhere and the latest horrible
right.
thing, but it is to look and be like, yo, did you see that in Turkey? Oh, thank you. This life? Wow.
Right.
It's not just to be pissed at others. You don't care about Turkey. You didn't post. What the
Yeah,
fuck is
no,
wrong with you, bro? It's to
my
truly
God.
hear those voices of the people buried beneath the shit, and the father's
That's right.
crying and he can't reach his daughter, and dude. So that helps chip away at my anger. of
Mm-hmm.
who hurt me, of who let me down. Because did they deserve that? Did they, like what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
do I deserve this? Did they deserve that? Do I deserve to be okay today?
Right.
Did they deserve to be beneath rubble?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of those people probably did nothing but good their entire life.
Yeah.
So when we remember that, that's who we are. We're them and we're this. So look at all the shit I have. I have I have my heart beating today. I have a pen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I have a trumpet. I have a microphone. I have a
It's gratitude. Yeah.
gratitude, right? That's the essence of the great I am, whatever you want to
That's
call it.
right.
It's a big thank you. And when that is there, then creativity can come through. My bitterness, my hurt, that when you talk to that lady and you were in your head and you talk to that lady and it pulled you out, that's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what us being interconnected can do. We can look at each other and be recalibrated and
Mm-hmm.
remind ourselves, oh, I'm the cell, you're a cell, this is the body. I'm not just the
That's right.
body who was hurt and my story. I can help you, you can help me. Um,
That's right.
I'm lucky.
I, you know, I was just taught. I always have these epic conversations with my tattoo artist. We spend a lot of time together. But he's just, he said something that he's like, and I think about it all the time. If only people could realize just how much alike we all are. If people, if we could be even given a glimpse of just how similar we are to every other human being on the
Yeah,
planet, bar none, we would not have, none of
yeah,
this shit that goes on would go on.
yeah.
We would realize that that's me and I'm them. You know what I'm saying? It would be so clear.
Hmm.
So you wouldn't be able to walk by someone on the street, without giving them food. You wouldn't, the things that have happened in our society wouldn't be percolating and growing. People would just have a natural inclination to take care of them. You
Yes,
know what I mean? To take care of it and fix it, the
yes,
system. You know,
absolutely.
because the system is kaput right now. It's all the structure
Thank,
is not in
thank you,
a
Miguel.
good place.
I heard everything you said. Excuse me. That was
No
wonderful,
problem.
Miguel, taking care.
Yo, Miguel's gonna get an extra. He's gonna get a special credit and
That's right.
thanks.
That's right. Um, yes, your alignment, man. Alignment. If we had 7 billion screens and show all of us trying to eat breakfast, all of us uh, needing to use the restroom,
Exactly.
all of us looking for love, all of us thinking about our mother, all of us deep down wanting to be nice to each other, but remembering that we were hurt, so it's easier to not
Yeah,
extend my hand because you might hurt me, you might steal.
that's right.
I don't want to love because that shit, blah, blah, blah. But yo, if we remember, like, what if today was my last day?
Right.
All these cliches are there for a reason. Music captures the moment. It is one
It
moment.
sure
It
does.
captures a moment. And life is a moment. It's just billions of
Yeah.
moments pushed together, but all we ever have.
It's it, that's right. There's only one, and it's right now, over and over. Isn't that amazing? It's like there's so magical about that, but people don't think about it. I mean, you got to stop and reflect on that fact. No matter how much you want to dwell on the past and stress about the
Yeah.
future, all you're ever going to get is right now. That's all you got.
And that and
Everyone, you know.
that sounds cliche, but also cliches themselves demand respect because why are they there? They've survived
That's right.
thousands of years. And all you
It's
ever
not easy to become a cliche.
no,
There's something there that it's enduring.
all I ever have, every moment that I obsess about a moment that disappointed me, there's another moment lost.
Yeah,
That very
it's true.
moment is like Interstellar at the end of the movie. Um, not to give
I
it,
love the end of that
not to
movie.
give any spoilers, but you must watch it if you haven't seen it. Interstellar.
Yeah,
Every moment
great movie.
was a room. Every moment was that same room where
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to get the book. Every moment, minute, second, it's you in a room, And
That's right.
5 seconds from now, it's you in the same room, but it's another room. It's a moment.
And there's often things happening that you don't understand,
Yeah.
but you can trust that are happening, and they are things from your future. They absolutely, you are connected to your future as well as your past. Just because we only have this moment doesn't mean that we're not connected through that way, but it's all trying to get to you as you're trying to get to it.
Mm.
And so when you understand that, it kind of broadens your awareness and perception of this thing we call linear time,
Yeah.
because you can change the past. I tell people all the time, I'm like, well, how can you honestly not believe we change when you change yourself in the present, you change
Your
the past.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you changed your past.
Yo,
Your
every
past
day.
today is not, I guarantee you, what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah,
There's just no way. I won't believe it,
yeah.
because I feel like you understand now that your past, that the source of some of that energy and emotion was your fuel. It wasn't your enemy. It wasn't. Yeah, was it
Mm,
hard? Yeah. Was it filled with strife? I'm sure it was. I can't imagine. But you like an alchemist, you transmuted it right into energy, and it fueled you into who you are today, right? And I don't know if you understood that or would have thought that about your past 10, 15 years ago. So how can you say that we can't change the past? Of course we can.
that's great. I love that. That's very, very true. You're Yes, if the past is a bunch of echoes, if you can, then the echo is your perception of what happened. If you change the echo, the signal you're proceeding with, then you're changing the literal echo
That's
of that
right.
sound. So you're remembering the past is something that happened for you.
That's right.
And so
That's exactly
you
right.
just you just reached in that shit. And this is what we utterly desperately need to do. We're not going to be taken out of our misery from being beautiful or rich or getting other
Mm-hmm.
people to finally say that we're worth something. It's going to be something that's as intimate as your telephone these days. We need something as
Yeah.
intimate as that because we're in these rooms right now and we need to go ahead and try to,
Yeah.
if we don't be playing with Chat GBT, man, as in like it's here,
Don't
it's
you know
here,
you
bro.
gotta
Like
tell me I'm not
no, no, I'm saying like as in don't play with, as in don't take it as a joke. Like it's here.
right. Yeah.
ChatGPT's perfect because it's finally we're in contact with the alien. It's writing shit.
Right.
We are we gotta we're in these rooms, man. And finally I'm understanding, like before, like this shit could have made me rich 10 times over, but it never turned me on like that.
Yeah.
Like as in the fight was the thing that turned me on. Right? The fight
Mm-hmm.
for love, the fight for peace, and that's where my wealth was to cease suffering for a moment was the
Mm-hmm.
wealth. Now I'm ready to share it and to help the world. Before, when I was young, I wanted to save the world, and now I know you can't change the world. You can't
That's right.
you can't save the world, but you can change the
You can
world.
affect
You
it.
can,
You can change yourself, and you can affect the world. That's the only way. That's the only way.
to put it in the words, coming back to that same thing, WAMO, though we all make one. You can't change the body. You can't change the body, but you can affect the cell.
Yeah.
And the cell gives you hope, and that's a slower process, right? You can't just grab the arm and make it reach. You can't just change your whole everything, but you can affect the cell on the cellular level.
That's right.
And if you believe in that's that local activism.
Mm-hmm.
That's that one that doesn't keep you outraged at the whole nastiness of whatever of the world and our worst parts, but
That's
at the
right.
local level. And if I can talk to this lady, I can change the world.
Yeah.
If I can relate to this, if I can talk to my mom, if I can relate to a stranger, if I can give a fuck today,
Yeah.
if I can give a fuck, then someone's going to give a fuck about me. If
Yeah.
I can care about me today, and not just in a in a
No,
in
I
a
know what you
not
mean.
in a
Yeah.
way of the memes like, you just gotta cut off people who don't appreciate you.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
in a way, if I can like,
Loving yourself means saying fuck you to those people. You know, it's
yeah,
like, wait, well, what?
but you love yourself a
Maybe
little
it
too
does,
much,
but
a little too
yeah.
much. Um, if I can, that's why I love comedy. If I can disrupt the algorithm of my bullshit with a laugh, and I'm like, ha,
Yeah.
oh, that's why I'm here. If I can
Yeah.
remember, that's why. So I'm here to disrupt the algorithm, and if I can laugh, if I can laugh, if I can find it in me to preserve my smile, God, I can,
Yeah.
I can. Now I'm saving the world.
Dude, that's how we save the world.
Yeah,
We, the moment we lose our sense of humor, we're fucked.
fuck.
I mean, we're, it's it. It's all, I mean, and the people who have lost their sense of humor, they're going extinct. I mean, they're it's like, you just can't live long without it. That's not, this is part of this wonderful experience called life, is realizing that it can be all fun and games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you take it too seriously, you ain't getting out alive anyway. So why bother?
Yeah, the stakes are
I
too
mean,
high to not laugh. The stakes are too high.
it's
The stakes are too.
and it's healthy. It's like all kinds of good things happen to the body when you laugh. I mean, people have laughed themselves right out of cancer. They've laughed
Mm,
themselves right into a state of health. I swear to God,
mm,
you hook them right up to the machines
it'll
and
show you.
keep them laughing, and people out 6 months later, the dude didn't. There wasn't anything wrong with his body.
That's what I'm
All
saying.
he did was laugh his ass off. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
the cliche, the healing power of laughter. That's where it comes from.
Mm,
It's a real thing. But Jeff, I want to go far out with you
okay,
before I have to go and you
let's go
have to
far
go.
out.
So let's do it, man. I obviously I'm sure you, even if you just checked out some of the titles of my recent podcast, I love the kind of expansion of awareness when it goes into things that for whatever reason are still a little controversial in American society, like ETs and UFOs
Mm,
and paranormal things. And it's funny because, you go to some other countries and cultures and they're like, they just talk about it. I mean,
yeah,
the Native American people had the sky people,
yeah,
before we got here, and they didn't think it
yeah.
was taboo to talk about. It's part of their history. But, I'm just wondering, have you ever seen, a UFO? Have you ever had a dream? Have you ever had an experience that was like, God, that really kind of made you walk the line of, did that just happen? Did I just see that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether it was paranormal
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah, without a doubt, there's been like two times that I saw activity in the sky that no one can tell me is different. Like, and then, but you move forward and you like try to forget about it, like a trauma victim.
Right.
But
Right.
I've definitely seen, I've definitely seen things a couple times in the sky that, like, personally, though, I was like, okay, that's it, definitely. But what?
Yeah.
Uh, but yes, have I seen just a couple times? How do I feel? I feel like with everything's so obviously such a Truman show that there
Yeah.
must be, because
Yeah.
there's so much work put into limit our own knowledge of our own ability
Yeah.
and to forget the past, and like it's so like Atlantean. We're capable of so
Yeah.
much more, that there's so much energy to suppress us, that I'm sure we're godlike.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, like we have this stuff in us, and
Mm-hmm.
and this place is so big, and it's so Truman Show. I feel like a studio light's gonna fall out the sky, man. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's an expansive place of life. I think this thing bumping
Yeah.
inside of me, this thing that's animating me,
Yep.
is not only located here, because there is water on other places. Like, just my
Yeah.
limited knowledge, I'm using common sense.
Right.
If this molecular thing that animates me, that makes Jeff, this source of this
Right.
element, whatever this is it only right here? Well, if there wasn't water in other places, if there wasn't other elements, then you have to
Yeah.
conclude that this element of yo, of me, of this, of is exists outside this atmosphere without a doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, and there's an intelligence to life that goes, beyond even our conscious thought, because your body doesn't require you to even think consciously to operate all 50 trillion cells, including an organ that's been beating from your conception. Well, maybe not directly from your conception, but one of the first things to develop is the
In a few
heart.
weeks,
Yeah, in a few weeks, and bam, you're off to the races. And
right?
by the time you get a brain, you already got a working heart. I mean, like, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to build the muscle. That's amazing. There's an
Amazing.
intelligence to that design that it becomes undeniably, it's just huge. And if it's here, you can rest assured that it's everywhere. It's in other places. I think personally, this little blue gem was put here because we are in a kind of a darker corner of the galaxy where there isn't maybe a lot of life in some of the immediate
Uh huh.
areas, and that's why Earth was brought in and put here
Mm,
to be a beacon of life, and so that
mm.
we could anchor light in this part of the Milky Way galaxy. But there's life everywhere. When we realize, and when some of the technology that's been suppressed comes out, and
Oh
people
yeah,
learn that,
that
well,
yeah.
we already know that there's life, and
If you see
people,
these phones, you see this technology, you see where we're at. You don't believe in aliens yet? I don't know what you're doing.
yeah.
This shit is the shit of witches. This is what witch hunting. This is witch hunt. If you
That's
even
right.
talked about being able to communicate with somebody from not talking to them, if you said, "Oh,
Right.
I heard John's voice," they're gonna hang you
That's right.
because
They consider you, black magic, voodoo shit. Dude, technology is simply an extension
of our
of,
own
of our
abilities.
mental, and we'll get there. We're just, right now everything is very limited, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But this tech, I mean, I tell Nick all the time, he never believes me. We always get into it, but I'm like, you have no idea what we're sitting on, man. I mean, the technology
Yeah.
that they've developed, and that, I mean, really, for about 70 years now, they've had technology, at least for the last 50 years, that is like, you're talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. They've been doing that shit for 50 years. And so it's like, but when it's gonna come out. It has to come out. You know what I'm saying? It's not right of them to do what they've done. And we're not alone, and they know we're not alone. They're not thrilled about it, because that's in part where, the reason why there's been a suppression of technology and suppression of the truth is because if people realized where the truth came
Mm,
from, then the energy would be free, and the power structures and the monopolies and the
mm.
economies that have been built around those
all all of
energies. You
all of
know,
these power structures behavior can like tell me that there's aliens because like
that's
they're like
right.
it's the behavior of when there's gold under the ground and no one wants you to find
Yeah,
it. They want you to stay as busy and crazy
that's
and
right.
scared so you
You
can't
hit it
find what's literally beneath your feet. It's the behavior of when there's gold, like, hey, look over here. Oh, you two, you fight. Oh, hey.
constantly,
So they
right?
never just calm down and whoa. Have you guys looked?
That's
Have you
right.
guys looked right under our feet? Fuck you! I'm fighting. It's like
Yeah.
we're standing.
And we've declared, then it's like, my God. And it just, they get more and more, it just becomes more and more frequent, more and more desperate,
Just
and they
desperate.
more and more
Yeah.
like, and like, really, we're using F-35 sidewinder missiles, and we're shooting balloons out of the sky now for, I guess we needed a fireworks show. Like, what kind of heinous, atrocious shit did you all do that you don't want the news reporting on, that
That
you're
this
going
is
to
our
send
story.
that? I could just imagine being in the room with the army guys when they got the call, like, they want us to what? Like, okay, and that they're there because they follow orders. So
Yeah.
they're like, send the pilots up, shoot the balloons down.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? They're probably looking at each other like, what the fuck? Well, how do we get involved with these people? That, how do they
Mm,
get in charge?
mm.
And because they don't tell them anything, they don't know why they just tell them to go and find something and shoot it down. You know what I mean? Like, they know there's balloons there because they put them there, but It's like, what a shit show, man. And people are like, oh, I think security is getting weak. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's not.
Mm,
It's not about security. It's just all a
it's all
distraction. It
it's
is all
all
the
a
Truman Show,
it's
you
all
know?
the Truman. This is why the Matrix and the Truman Show are the Bibles of our generation. No one's gonna read
Yeah,
ever the fuck again unless they really want to. Okay, the average person's never gonna read
that's
again.
right.
Let's go there. So the Bibles we have are digital, and they're called the Matrix
Yeah,
and the Truman Show and whatever the fuck else. But these are the easiest,
yeah,
most mainstream ways to describe this control. It's
that's
it's
right.
unbelievably obvious. There's so much effort. Let's say me. I'm growing up how I grew up. Why is there so much effort in them and why is there so much effort in how Jeff is supposed to see himself as somebody coming from where I'm coming
Right.
from? There's so much effort in how I'm supposed to see myself. Like I'm supposed to really want to get locked up and
Yeah.
to be like a slave to my own impulses and
Mm-hmm.
and to always convict my mother and father and to be like and to be greedy and to be
Yeah.
instead of what we just talked about. Everything's energy. All of this bad energy um propels me. This
Mm-hmm.
is how they capitalize on all of our outrage because it is all control, because the
Yeah.
information we have, the technology, let's say on this level, to process bad energy and good energy in a useful way. This is the technology I want to work on personally.
Yeah.
It's elementary biotech, but this is where I'm at. Processing,
No, but man, that's what we need, is what people need.
and they
Because then they lose
insist,
control.
and they
Yeah.
insist that we don't have control over ourselves. That I'm only happy until a girl breaks my heart or
Right.
until some other ethnicity or some stuff.
Yeah.
And but really,
Divide and conquer.
I'm in control. I'm I can take the most devastating dark forces and use them for the light. I can take a
Mm-hmm.
funeral and make it a birth. I can take the dark
That's
and
right.
make it light because I have that. And that's not crazy kooky stuff. That is
No, it ain't.
that is what you need to be strapped with in this world because pain is guaranteed and they what we're
Mm-hmm.
saying they're always going to run some crazy story that capitalizes on your inner that controls your inner bio
Right.
algorithm. And you need to be geared towards the light or you're going to want to kill yourself. And we need
That's
to,
right.
and I don't want to kill myself. I want to blossom. That
Right.
phrase that I just said literally holds power and makes me want to blossom. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't hear that phrase said often enough. I hear it said in
Yeah.
a dramatic way. If you've got mental health, blah. They're even selling us back our own trauma.
Right.
I want to.
That's all you do.
Uh,
They just legalized the anti opiate addiction nasal spray so that to cure your
Opiate addiction.
I forgot. Yeah, you can. The FDA said you can sell it over the counter. They're going to put it in every drugstore, so that the people who they addicted to these opiates and these what do you call it, the fentanyl,
The
they can
oxy.
go and they can buy something to get addicted to instead of that.
How many?
I mean, this is the world we live in.
We could.
It's craziness, man.
We could go all day. Just the one thing I'll say is through in the last 3 years, how much have you heard about exercise and good eating?
Yeah,
How much have you heard about
that's right.
eating, about preparing your food in a decent way?
From the powers that care about your health, that are telling you what you need to be and do to be healthy, to save yourself. When have you heard about
How much have you
anything
heard
that
about
resembles health?
sunlight?
My
How much have you
God,
heard about
man.
sunlight? Like, hey, bro, maybe you want to simply die because you haven't felt the sun on your flesh.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like,
it's
and so
crazy.
the pain, a lot of the pain I went through is so I could learn that lesson. So I don't
Yeah,
just bring my pain out into the world and try to attach to something to help me and save me and fix me, some woman to fix me, some person, some
right.
father figure to fix me, some maternal figure, some money, some power. Like I learned that, oh shit, when I exercise, I feel better.
You learned how to fix you. You learned how to fix
Get,
you. And that's the only thing that's going to work. Ain't
no one's
nobody you
coming to
meet.
save me.
There's no one's coming to save you. There is no external
No.
savior.
Mm,
You can find a path. Somebody can point to a path, but you got to take it.
yeah, you gotta
And
take it.
and you got to walk it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and then what we tend to do is we look at that person and we think they were our savior because they showed
Mm,
us the path.
but
And I'm always like, I love them,
mm,
but I saved me. I will always love them. I'm eternally grateful because they pointed to the path. But I got my ass on that yellow brick road and I walked the whole damn thing. I may not have known it was there. I may have found it eventually, but thank God they told me. But they're not my savior. I'm my savior, right?
just like
There's a
every
difference.
story, including The Last Dragon, and here's a spoiler for who hasn't seen it, but you have to see it.
Oh my
At the end, the
God.
fucking the metal thing wasn't real. The thing he was wasn't he after a like a medal, like a amulet kind of thing?
Oh yeah, no. The he was looking for the master's. Well,
Gold,
he
the
didn't know. He thought
master's
it.
gold
Yeah,
thing, gold
yeah.
coin.
The
The
medallion. It
medallion.
was. Then it doesn't
The
exist.
medallion
Yeah,
wasn't real. It was like some toy.
it was a
A
belt buckle.
belt buckle. And he said, the
Yeah,
power's in the medallion. I got the glow from
yeah.
the medallion.
And he said, "No, it's here. It's here."
Every master, great
You
master
know.
teaches you that. And every great master is a comedian. He's like, oh, no, the joke's on you.
That's right.
This life it's the joke's on us. And
That's
that's at the end of all of these endless arguments and
mm-hmm.
differences between us, that the joke's on us. And
Yeah.
that's why none of us are right. How are we going to be right? We can only do, and we can only keep the energy moving. I'm going to be what I am,
Mm-hmm.
and no one's going to change me, and I'm not going to change anyone. I can only be what I am and learn from others that are being the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
I need to update my algorithm constantly. I need to listen, learn, and I need to love. And love isn't
Yeah.
just emotional, love is a verb. And
Mm-hmm.
today I had tough thoughts.
Yeah.
And I tried to sit down with the music, and they were louder than the music. And I was like, do some push ups. And
Yeah.
crazy enough, I took a little bit of my power back when I did push ups. I did a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, and when I stood up, my blood, and I was like, if there's, that's one thing I could control in the moment of my
Yeah.
madness. I'm working on the things that I can control. And not doing that almost drove me mad. If I can't figure it out in my
Yeah.
head, I need to figure it out in my body. And this technology is what we're talking about, inner technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I just live, and I just want to laugh, and I just want to be great, and I want to achieve, and I want to I want to be a seeded fruit. I want to
Yeah.
be I want to be a seeded fruit. All along the way, I want to leave seeds to become the same fruit that I am. I want to
Yeah.
pass out fishing rods. I don't just want to pass out fish. And
Right.
I don't want to sun
Right.
people. I don't want to tell them they need to be as conscientious, or they need to be, I don't want to be passive aggressive hippie. And I
Right.
don't want to be, and I'm so not just passive aggressive, because these hippies today aren't passive aggressive. people people
Yeah. No. No doubt, man.
people are straight up tripping because
No shit.
they're afraid of the fact that their life is temporary.
Yeah. They're confused about what they are.
And it's scary, and I know it's scary, but all I want to do is forgive and be forgiven. I want to,
Yeah.
and from
It's
there
beautiful, man.
I can
It's
be great.
beautiful.
I can from there I can be great. I can write better,
You are
because
great, my friend. You are great.
that's all I deserve. That's all I deserve is a chance. Nobody has to do it for me. All I got is a
That's
chance,
right.
and if I can remember that I got a chance, man, that's my million. That's my $100 million is a chance to make it right today.
Damn right.
Um, and so that's what I'm trying to
It's
do
beautiful.
through this art. That's what you're doing through your art, and that's all that's
Thank you.
worth
Yes,
talking about.
man, it's beautiful. It's been real, Jeff. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk, man. Um, really a perfect place to end. With that statement you made, it's just gorgeous. And I have to take my 9-year-old to baseball practice, so it's perfect segue and perfect ending. I appreciate your time so much, man. It's been great. Yeah, we'll have to do it again one day because we didn't even get a chance to talk about all the things I want to talk to you about. So one of these days,
Right?
a
No, I
couple months down the
know.
road, we'll get back together and we'll talk about some other stuff.
Sure, I'll have some great stuff coming out, so
That
that'll be
sound
right
good?
in alignment. Thank you for your
Yeah,
time. Thank
man.
you for
That's what I'm
your
saying. We'll
energy.
time it.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Sorry about that.
And we'll do it again. We'll do it again, Faust. Keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to Nick for connecting us.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, peace to you and your
Thanks,
fam,
man.
and
I
we'll connect again and
appreciate you,
keep up the
Jeff.
good fight. Right on, Faust. Same to
Thanks,
you. We'll
brother. You
talk
too. I
soon.
can't wait to see everything you got coming out. We'll be in touch. Thanks, bro.
All right, brother. Peace and love.